Nissan Navara is one of my most favorite pickup trucks available here in the market. But if you want something that not only can deliver great ride comfort for a pickup truck, but also something that can kind of go off-road, then you can try out their top-of-the-line trim. Here we have the 2021 Nissan Navara Pro-4X. Today I'm going to show you around this car. I'm also going to give it a test drive, so stay tuned. Nissan Navara in its fiery red color just absolutely stands out. Everything about the color just matches the look of this car. Up top for your hood, you get a U-shaped pattern which looks really chunky and muscular. You lose pretty much all of your chrome in this car, so instead you get replaced with blacked out pieces. Even your recessed Navara logo is also blacked out. Your Nissan logo is also blacked out, and apparently Nissan calls this Nissan logo here in orange color, but I see it as red unless I'm already going colorblind. Down below you get more blacked out pieces with these red-orange reflector looking thingies, but I tried shining lights on them and they are just pieces of trim. You get Quad-Beam Projector headlamps in this one, and they look really nice. It's like chunky square pieces in it, and they are quite bright as well. And you also get LED fog lights on this one. Towards the side, the Pro-4X sticker just stands out so much. Again, it really does match the fiery red paint on this one. This trim also gets off-road oriented accents on it. So for example, you do get slightly flared fenders, but it's still not as flared as some of its competitors. However, personally, I do like that because navigating this car in tight city streets, it's a lot easier than those. You get slightly smaller rims compared to the VL model. The VL gets like 18s, but this one gets 17s, but there's a reason for that. These are thicker tires. These are 65 profile tires, and they are not road-going tires. They are all-terrain tires. Together with the front, you still get a lot of black stuff back here, so you do get a blacked out side mirror. You also get a camera over there for your like top-down 360-degree view camera, blacked out door handles, and a really black roof rail up top, plus your step board. It's also all black and slightly matte looking. Towards the back, what you'll see here is that for this 2021 year model, Nissan updated the bed of the Navara, so it's no longer flat. Instead, it's 20 inches over here, but 21 inches towards the back. So that gives you a sloping bed. And what's cool about that is that it produced some sort of like spoiler effect to it. It looks really sporty. You no longer get the V-shaped pattern. Instead, you have a reverse V with a recessed Navara logo down below. You get blacked out step boards, you get a reverse camera, and you also get parking sensors over here. Now opening this one up, and you'll notice immediately that it is a lot easier to open and close. It's no longer heavy because it is slightly assisted. Payload capacity for this is around 1,100 kilograms, which interestingly enough is about the curb weight of a base model Nissan Almera. And back here you'll see that you get a lot of seat tethers and also those black tethers by the side, so you can easily adjust those for you to be able to tie down your items. This is around 60 inches in depth and also 61 inches in width. Not bad for a car like this. Under the hood, for these 4x4 models such as this Pro-4X, you have a largely unchanged 2.5 liter inline-4 diesel engine, which makes 190 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. Now, this isn't exactly the best in its class, but it's nowhere near underpowered. In fact, it is more than adequate for a car of this weight. It is also mated to a 7-speed automatic transmission. Here inside the Navara Pro-4X, check the door thud. Pretty decent for a Japanese car. Let's start the car up. You get push button start on this one, and your gauges even sweep and give you a really nice graphics towards the center. Now the interior of the Navara Pro-4X, it's a very Spartan interior. So yes, up top and on the side you do get hard plastic, but that is to be expected at this price point, especially for a rugged going vehicle such as this one. Your steering wheel, it is leather wrapped. You get your controls on the left side for your multi-information screen on your gauge cluster. Meanwhile, on the right side, you have your cruise control setting. It's also an updated steering wheel compared to the older models. It looks way more modern than those. Your instrument cluster, it's all new as well. So you do get that multi-information screen in the middle, which shows pretty much everything, your fuel economy and all that. And it's flanked by 2 gauges, which are bright white. Looks really nice. Towards the side, you get blacked out door handles. You get fully automatic up and down only for the driver's side though, and you can also fold your side mirrors from here. To the center of everything, you have this huge cubby space up top with a 12-volt outlet. That's an interesting thing that Nissan did, so that you can probably put your face shield over there or your phone if you want to. The air vents are quite odd, so on the sides on either corners, they are round, but towards the center, it's only your regular horizontal air vent. You get 2 cup holders by the side as well. Here on the center too, you get 2 more of that, and also a huge jug holder by the side. Your infotainment screen is flanked by buttons that lost all of their chromes compared to the other trims, but this screen right here, it is really quite responsive. It also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, again quite rare in this price point. Down below, you get your dual zone climate control, more switches down here, so you get your parking sensors, you get hill descent control, and an electronically locking rear differential. Towards the side of that, you have your shift on the fly differential right here, so you can go from 2 high, 4 high, and you can push it for 4 low. More USB ports down below and a place to put your phone. Your shifter is just a regular shifter with manual mode, 7-speed again by the way. Then you have a cubby over here with a USB-C port, a regular USB port, and also a 12-volt outlet. Finally, this driving position in this car, it's really easy to find your perfect driving position. Unfortunately, the steering wheel, it is only tiltable, it's not telescoping, but the seats in this one, they are 6-way manually adjustable, and they also get this new nice leather pattern and stitching, plus the Pro-4X stitching as well. Now, you might be wondering why this one doesn't get power seats, but the cheaper VL trim gets 8-way power adjustable. Well, if you do take this car off-road, you wouldn't want your power seat motors to get wet and break, hence they made it manually adjustable seats. When you put this car into reverse, you get your reverse camera over here with swiveling lines as well. I really like that. And you also get your top-down 360-degree view camera, which is quite accurate. The back of the Nissan Navara, first to check the door thud. Actually sounds really good, and I love how the doors itself are quite short, so they're not hard to close. Now anyway, back here, the seats themselves, they are probably the most comfortable seats you can get with any pickup truck. Unlike most pickup truck, you don't sit too upright, so you do still get some sort of recline. Your thigh support is slightly angled upwards, just like a BMW 7 Series, but as for your toys back here, you don't really get much. So you don't get your own map pocket over here, but you do get your own air vent, so that's part of Nissan's legendary AC system, which is really cool. You get a charging port, but it's not USB-C. You get a tiny place to put absolutely nothing except for a pen probably, and you also get your own armrest back here with 2 cup holders. Your legroom is really good. Your headroom is also pretty good because of how square the cab is, and if you want to see 3 people in this car, you can easily do that. It's absolutely great. Your footwell, it's really big. The transmission tunnel is also relatively flat. So yes, this is one of the best cars for seating 3 people at the second row. So driving the 2021 Nissan Navara Pro-4X, I think the main edge that the Navara has over its competitors is NVH. I mean, sure, noise-wise, you still do hear the diesel engine, but it's not as loud as some of its competitors. Vibrations, really not much permeate into the seats, to the steering wheel, and harshness especially, you barely feel anything over bumps and potholes. It's really just that extra comfort that it can provide you that keeps you sane over longer journeys, especially for a pickup truck. This thing is amazing. It rides better than some SUVs and crossovers on the road. Floor the throttle, and most of the power comes in at around 3,000 RPM, so there's just a tiny bit of lag, and anything above 3,000 RPM and you don't really find your speed to be increasing that much. So it's really that sweet spot at 3,000 RPM that you want to always be maintaining this car if you want peak power from it. That beeping you heard is the blind spot monitoring system, because this car comes equipped with a slew of safety features. So to start off, you do get 6 airbags all around the car. You get blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. It even alerts you if you're getting too close to the car in front of you. And you also get hill descent control and hill start assist. So this is probably one of the more smarter, the more intelligent Nissan cars out there. And this is what Nissan would call their Nissan Intelligent Mobility Suite. Again, as we just accelerate this car, I don't think anyone would say that this car is underpowered, because as you just step on it, it just goes. Yeah, there's just really that slight lag at 3,000 RPM, a slight turbo delay. But once you get past that, you do get power from around 3 to 3,500 RPM that don't rev it anywhere above that because your power starts to taper off. Visibility in the Navara is actually great, surprisingly. You would expect that you wouldn't see that much out of the back because it is a pickup truck, so you don't really know where the edge of the car is. And yes, that is still true, especially since you have that tiny spoiler. But the rear window is set up in a nice way so that you can easily see it through this rear view mirror in the center, which is auto dimming. That coupled with your 360-degree top-down view camera makes parking a really long pickup truck such as the Navara a really simple task. A lot of Japanese cars have really jittery and brakes that just makes you like throws you forward. This one, it's quite similar to a lot of Euro cars that I would be driving. So if you press on the brake pedal, it's just smooth. It decelerates you linearly. There's no sudden jerk that it would happen. So that really adds a lot to the comfort that this car can provide you. There's one thing I wish Nissan would improve on the Nissan Navara is the steering ratio and the steering feel in this car. Still quite vague, but that is fine because this is a pickup truck. However, the steering ratio is quite ridiculous. In slower city speeds, or let's say when you are parking this car or getting out of a parking slot, you really do have to keep turning the wheel a lot because of the steering ratio. So I turn it so much, and the front tires, they don't really move that much. Something that I appreciate with this is that if you're going through rather tight streets, rather narrower streets, since you do only get slightly flared fenders and slightly wider tires, it's not as hard to maneuver this in those tighter streets compared to, let's say, its Ford counterpart. Now that we're entering the Skyway and we want to get up to motorway speeds really quick, the Navara does not struggle. So again, I just bury my foot into the throttle and the transmission finds the perfect gear for me. And now that we're here on the motorway, all I can say is it is a very quiet ride. It's really not something I would expect, especially from a pickup truck. I don't even have to speak that loud in here compared to if, let's say, I were in a Toyota Hilux. It's just a very smooth riding experience. Then even if I drive for really, really long journeys, these zero gravity seating is excellent. My lumbar support is great. It's not adjustable, but yes, there's a set amount of lumbar that's already there preset for you. Your thigh support is also great. Your lateral support, in case you do want to slightly corner this car, it's also pretty there. It's bolstered nicely. In terms of fuel economy, the Nissan Navara Pro-4X does around 7.5 kilometers per liter in moderate to light city speeds. But once you get up here on the highway, I'm actually returning around 12.4 kilometers per liter. Overall, that's really not bad. I was actually expecting these all-terrain tires to be a lot noisier than highway going tires or road going tires, but surprisingly, even when you're going at speed, they are pretty quiet or really relaxed as you just keep driving along in your Nissan Navara Pro-4X. Over curves such as this, it is really quite surprising that the Nissan Navara doesn't really have that much body roll. It comes with dual rate coil springs, which really helps out. And you also get a new multi-link suspension with this one. And it really does translate to a really nice feel when you're driving this. At 1.746 million pesos, the Nissan Navara undercuts its rivals by a considerable amount. One is 150K and the other one is 250K. And for that less money, you still get a lot of refinement and comfort in this car, plus performance. So I would really easily say that the Nissan Navara Pro-4X is my top choice when it comes to a slightly souped up pickup truck. It really is quite an underrated pickup truck in the market.